Hi guys, on this video I'm going to be doing a comparison of the Chanel Classic Flap Bag, medium size, caviar leather in the gold hardware. One of them is not real. Can you guess which one is? Before I reveal, put in the description box below if you want to venture a guess. If you guessed this is the fake one, then you are right. I'm going to give you a closer look of these two bags, compare everything, the caviar leather, the hardware, the stitching, the stamping, everything about the bag. First off, let's look at the overall look of the handbag. I will give you guys mud shots, so stay put all the way at the end so you can see the bags compared side by side when worn. But overall look right now, I noticed that the real bag has a little bit more rounded shape versus this, it has a little bit more square shape. The quilting, they tend to match where everything needs to fall, as far as like where everything ends, the flap where it hits the quilt. Even the back pocket looks to be matching, so nothing of note here. Now let's compare the leather. Typically the fake one will have more dull, matte finish, just a little bit drier and stiffer leather, versus the authentic will have a little bit of softer feel to it. Even though this is the caviar harder leather, there's some give, and this one, there's some give too. But I do feel when you feel it next to each other, this one a little bit tend to be softer. Another thing to note on the leather and this overall smell of the handbag, even though it's older, you don't smell the leather anymore, but it doesn't smell like chemical. But this one, when you do get it like the fresh off the box, it does have like a strong chemical smell. It eventually goes away, but that's one way to tell too. If you smell something like off on the bag, smells like a glue or something that's just not supposed to smell like, what you're paying for, very expensive handbag, then that's a good giveaway that the bag could be fake. As far as dimensions, I noticed that on a lot of the fake ones I get, the bag tends to be a little bit bigger than the authentic one. Kind of what you can see here, it's a little bit bigger, and sometimes the strap is going to be longer as well. I think this one is just a little bit longer, but I've seen it like an inch much longer. But in this case, just a tad difference on the bag dimension. So you check for the dimension, make sure you're has the right dimensions on the handbag. I've seen the fake one to be much wider as well and taller. I think that's the most common difference when I see they can't get the dimensions right. Let's move on to hardware. Always number one thing to look for is the hardware on the fake bags will always going to be more orange look. Just lesser quality hardware, as you can see here, versus this one has the authentic has more real rich gold color. Let me show you closely the strap. You can see here, I mean, it's a little bit bright, but it's more orange on the hardware, typically always the case. And one thing that you can also use, doesn't always work, but it works on all the fake bags that I own and work on the authentic bag. You get a magnet. This is Wix Gear. I got this from Amazon. If it's real, it should not attach. But again, I gotta caution you, it doesn't always work. Okay, I have people say, oh yeah, I got something from the Chanel boutique and it has a magnet. So it doesn't always work, but in my case, it worked. Okay, so here you go. It should not get attached to a magnet. Something about the metal used on the fake one. There's a little bit magnetized on the hardware. That's something you can check. Always look for the sound of the hardware too. Like it should have like a really nice sound and it glides smoothly. Sometimes it won't, just because it does go through on this under the flap. So it's sometimes you have to open this to kind of like let it glide through like that if you don't want scratching your leather. But the fake one, well, this sounds great. Sometimes it sounds glassy and hollow, and see, this one's a little bit louder versus the authentic was a little bit quieter. Okay, even though if you open this, that's the sound of a fake bag. Okay, patchy here again. A little bit quieter, as the metal is a little bit more solid than the hollowed quality of the fake one. Now let's go ahead and move inside to see brand tags and brand stamps. I also look for, like, when everything aligns. The zipper closure, it needs to align properly. The grommets aligns properly. And this flap kind of aligns right here in the bottom. You can see this one's a little bit shorter on the flap versus this one's a little bit lower here. Okay, so those things you can actually check for. Here's the hardware difference. You can see here, more prevalent, more orange here. Sometimes it's very hard to tell, like the stamping, but the stamping on the hardware should always be more clear, like not too bold. It's just clear enough that when you move it around, you should be able to read what it says. And the fake one sometimes is very hard. Like, I can't read this. This reads Chanel. Well, this one either, but it's definitely like just more clear, not as dull. Okay, on the hardware, whenever you see stamp, it should be more thin, precise stamping. That's always what I check. This one's easy to check. This CC interlocking logo here. Whenever I see an even CC, like the width of the CC all around, this needs to be the same width as this one. This needs to be the same width as this. That's normally, I could tell already if it's something is not real. This one's kind of hard to tell because it is kind of even. So my bag is older, so it has a black interior, but you can see the brand stamping there. That's the fake one. And sometimes when you feel this, should feel some grooves in there. And sometimes the fake one will just be smooth, which this one is. There's no grooves. It feels like it's just stamped there. This is the authentic. There's some grooves, so just feel that. There's grooves on the brand stamping. And then this is very off to me, this color. It looks more cheaper look of the burgundy, red burgundy color. This one looks more purplish than the authentic burgundy color. So that's one thing that can be a big giveaway to that color of the flap. And then lastly, any uneven leather in the bottom. So sometimes, like when they lay flat the leather, the lining, it should be completely lay flat, and the date code should be on the left corner, very straight, like that. Okay, it's very hard to see, but it's down there, left corner, and lay flat. Now on the fake bag, sometimes when, again, it depends on the quality that you see. This one, again, it's a really good quality, so it's very clean inside, everything lays flat. But when it's, sometimes you see a lower quality one, they kind of have bulges of leather. It's not laid flat properly. And look at this date code. This date code is up here versus being on the bottom. It's a little crooked too. Okay, so that is always a big giveaway. And sometimes when you see this plate here, and then you also see this date code, yeah, it only exists one or the other. And this date code, this plate replaced the date code, I think, after 21. So anything before 2021, you should see this, and after 2021, you should see the plate. Now I'm just gonna quickly go over the packaging on the bag. This is the fake, this is the authentic. Again, I can feel something here. This one does not. It's just really smooth. This one's a little bit of grooves. So just feel the box. They seem to be the same quality box. Also, this is thinner, and sometimes this is a little bit cheaper. You can see here. This one is from my Chanel 19, by the way, because my other bag is vintage, so I don't have all this newer version style. But the only thing I really look for here, I don't really look at anything else, because people can buy their packaging, the authentic one, and then pass off the bag as fake. So I don't rely on packaging. I always rely on the authenticity card. But look at the difference with the authenticity card. Again, remember, if it's orangey looking, it's fake. So you can see the gold trim here. This is more orange, this is more gold. And sometimes like the fake authenticity card will be bolder and bigger. Not in this case. This tends to be more white. There's a little bit more like off-white color on the font and lettering. But I think biggest giveaway here is just look at the color of the date code and color of the border, okay? And also when you feel this, again, groups. This one, I can feel a little bit there, but very surface-like, okay? So this one has a little bit more definition for sure. Here's the other side. So in this case, I don't notice much on the font, except that the color of the font, instead of being bright white, fresh white, is a little bit more off-white, more grayish looking. Overall thoughts on the bag, I think very minor differences. It's gonna be hard for me to notice. The only main thing that I notice right away is just shape of the fake one. It's a little bit more square. That's the real noticeable thing about the two handbags. Now, to answer the question, is it worth it to spend a lot of money for a handbag? I'm gonna let you answer that. Everybody's different. It's really just gonna be based on your perspective and the value that you're willing to pay for a handbag. With that, thank you so much for watching. If you have any question, you can leave a message down below. Hope you enjoy and hope you learned something from this video. Hope to see you next time on my next posting. Bye, ciao for now.